It was one of those days. As he drove out to work in the morning, his work truck got a flat tire. On the first job, the pump jammed. The clog was in the first section of the hose. It took him only 40 minutes with a 9-pound sled to clear the clog. The job was a small section of sidewalk, and things went faster after that. Jack found his second place of employment by getting lost twice. It was in a neighborhood of large, expensive homes. He got out of the truck and looked around the job site. It appeared to be ready to go. He walked back to the truck and locked the front wheel hubs. Jack got in the truck, shifted into four-wheel drive, and rolled the pump up to the walls of the building, making sure the concrete truck had room to pull in behind. Jack began unloading the heavy hoses and rolling them out. Returning to the pump, he slid the pressure-reducing cone in and snapped it shut. Taking a hose clamp, he secured the first 2-inch hose. He took more clamps and connected 4 more hoses. Jack went to the truck, took a rag, and rolled it into a ball. He disconnected the first clamp and slipped the rag into the hose to block it off. Jack looked around to make sure no one was watching him. The tree huggers didn't like what he was about to do. He took a piece of rebar and pushed the rag several feet into the hose. He got a quart of used motor oil out of the truck and poured it into the hose. He reconnected the hose to the concrete pump. He checked the old Mako pump and started it up. It started right up, and he let it idle for a few minutes while he threaded the remote control switch on the wire. The contractor's workers showed up, and none of them spoke English. Damn, he thought. Another day like this. Jack found a temporary water line, ran a hose, and filled the pump hopper. When he heard the beep on the concrete truck, he steered it into place. When the truck was close, he made it stop, released the chute, and rolled it out behind the truck. He signaled the driver to back up again. Jack stopped him with the chute in the right place. The foreman came over and asked if Jack was ready. Jack said, "In about 5 minutes, you have 2 or 3 hose lines and a switch operator for me. Make sure the guy on the switchboard speaks English, okay?" Jack started the pump and climbed the ladder to the joists, holding the hose over his shoulder. He walked along the edges of the plywood panels to the end of the wall. He looked at the men below. 3 were holding the hose and 1 was holding the junction box. Jack nodded to the switchboard and the pump started faster and the hose rattled as the pump pumped water from the hopper to the hose, lubricating it. The concrete truck driver began to feed the concrete down the chute as the water reached the bottom of the hopper. The hose grew thicker as it filled with water. Jack held the end of the hose over the side of the mold and let the water flow into the dirt along the wall. As the water changed to concrete, the hose became much heavier and he moved it and began filling the molds. Attached to the hose was a hook that he hooked over the side of the mold. As he filled the mold, he stepped back and moved the hook behind him to take some of the weight off his shoulders and arms. The hose holders below were falling behind him. He was on the verge of overfilling the forms, and it seemed like he was dragging the 3 guys behind him instead of them helping him. He yelled at them and told them to follow him closer. As he looked back, he saw that he was approaching the corner of the wall. He looked at the comm. The one was talking and laughing with another man. Jack screamed at the top of his lungs, but the switchman didn't hear him. He was at the corner of the wall. The forms were filled. He unhooked the hook from the tie beam and lowered the hook, the hose, and the whole rig inside the house. He walked the beam to the stairs while the hosman watched the concrete spread across the floor. He walked over to the switchboard, took the switch box from the astonished man, and switched it to idle. Reaching through the concrete on the floor, he picked up the end of the hose and threw it out a nearby window. He walked over to the concrete truck and told the driver it was over. He flipped the switch to pump, picked up the water hose, and turned it on. He ran the hose into the hopper when the concrete became scarce. He switched to idle and let the hopper fill with water. When the hopper was almost full, he switched back to the pump. He did this several times until he was sure the hoses were free of concrete. Running up, he checked the end of the hose and saw clear water flowing from it. He switched to idle again, then went back to the pump and turned it off. The concrete truck driver came over and asked Jack what he was going to do. Jack looked at him. "Charlie, did you see what happened? Those stupid assholes almost dragged me off the beam, and the switchman didn't pay any attention to me at all. I'm going home. Maybe they'll find someone else to swing for them. Yes, Jack. I saw you had your hands full. I'll call the company and see what they want to do. Jack disconnected the hoses and had already stowed most of them in the truck when the site supervisor pulled up in his pickup truck. He went into the house and jumped back out. What the hell do you think you're doing? You can't just walk off the job like that? Jack smirked. Sure I can. Just watch me. We'll sue your ass if you quit your job and stay with this mess and the concrete remnants. Read your contract. Consent means you are obligated to provide me with trained and experienced helpers. Otherwise, you are obligated to assume all damages caused by those assistants. You must pay me for my time and expenses incurred. You can't get someone else to pump for you because you are too damn slow to pay your bills. Now, I want to go home. My back hurts because your assistants don't speak English and I had to carry them in this fucking hose. I almost fell a couple times. He threw the remaining hose into his truck and drove off. Jack got home very early and made his way into the house and into the bedroom to shower and clean up. He stopped in the doorway and watched some guy sleeping with his wife. He sat in the chair and watched her scream with pleasure. Jack quietly opened the closet door, reached around the corner, and pulled out his automatic shotgun. He knew it was loaded with birdshot. Taking careful aim, he fired into the clothes closet and saw them turn around and stare at him. The shotgun was now pointed directly at them. Their eyes were bulging. Sue, his wife, was trembling. "Please don't kill me, please," she sobbed. Jack slowly turned the barrel and pointed it at the man. He now recognized him as his neighbor. "Are you ready to face your maker?" "Not a good option if you expect to go to heaven, George. God doesn't take cheaters." Sue stared at him. "Sue, get off the bed and run to the linen closet for 2 large beach towels. Hurry, or I'll trash your lover's dignity." She jumped off the bed and ran down the hall. A minute later, she returned. "Give 1 towel to your lover and keep the other. Now you both go down the hall to the front door." He poked George hard in the back with the barrel of the shotgun. "Now, Sue, open the damn door. Get out the door." Sue sobbed. "This towel won't be able to cover all of me." "Then take George, because that's all you're going to take away from here. Now go outside and turn left. Ignore the people standing in the street. They'll figure it out quickly. Walk toward your house, George." George started to turn around. The blast from the shotgun scared the hell out of him. Goosebumps ran down his legs. People came out of several houses to watch the small procession move through the neighborhood. George's wife was among the watchers. She stood on the porch of their house. Jack led the couple up the steps. "There's your cheating husband. If I ever see him near my property again, I'll kill him. The bitch with him has no right to live with me anymore." Jack reached out and snatched towels from each of them. He turned and walked away. He heard the door slam behind him. Turning around, he saw a naked couple standing in front of the house. He grinned and walked home. It was one of those days he needed a beer.